We are back with the 155th edition of the Quarantinecast. I'm really excited for this one. I have a UFC fighter joining me. I haven't talked to him yet, so it's always nice talking to new people here. He just had a big win. Without further ado, here he is. He's UFC lightweight Austin Hubbard. Hey, how you doing?
Hey man, what's up? How you doing? I'm doing well.
Well, I'm not doing too bad. So what's life like there? I mean, you're in Colorado, right?
Um, I live in Colorado, but at the moment I'm actually in Illinois. This is where I'm from. I came home, visit family and whatnot, and see everyone. So I'm currently in Illinois, but I do live in Colorado.
Is that like a typical thing you do after fights and stuff? Just go back and spend some time with the family?
Yeah, so I kind of give myself like 2 weeks of downtime, after a fight. I spend pretty much every day training multiple times a day. Uh, I call it gluttony week, where I can just be as fat and lazy as I want and just kind of enjoy relaxing, doing nothing, for those 2 weeks.
What's your typical I'm sure when you go back there's something you like to do that you can't necessarily do during camps and whatnot. Is there anything in particular in terms of like food or maybe some crazy activity like cowboy, like you go skydiving or something? Is there
Yeah.
anything you like to do or that you can't usually do throughout fight camps and stuff?
Not nothing too crazy. I guess just doing nothing is is my crazy thing I do. Like I said, even when I don't have a fight, typically I'm training multiple times a day, every day except Sunday. So, like I said, I give myself that 2 weeks to do absolutely whatever I want. Uh, Eat food, pizza, burgers, sweets, even drink a beer here and there. Just kind of completely decompressing, completely relaxing, to give myself kind of that 2 week reset where by the end of the 2 weeks I'm like super motivated to stop being a bum again and get back to training and everything. For me it seems to be that perfect mark where I'm completely recovered, body wise and physically from the fight. And then, the long training camp. And then, like I said, by the end of the 2 weeks, I'm pretty motivated to get back to it. So,
Heading into that fight, there was a lot. There were some changes that you made, both physically and mentally. One of those physical changes is there is some new metal in your body. How did
yeah.
that feel on fight night?
It's fine. I didn't notice it. Yeah, I had an orbital fracture that required surgery and got a plate in my eye, well, near my eye, the inner wall of my orbital. And yeah, I feel like I healed pretty fast. I think I was only out for, 3, 4 months maybe total for that. Yeah, once I'm healed, I don't really think about it too much anymore. I just keep going.
That's good to hear. Another one of those changes was mentally.
Yeah.
After the Joe Solecki fight, you made some changes in terms of started seeing a mental coach
Yeah.
and made some big changes, and it showed. I thought you looked unbelievable on fight night,
Thank you.
given all the circumstances and
Yeah.
everything as well. How big has that been? Seeing a guy. I think it's every Monday or something that you see him.
Yeah, yeah. So it's been, very valuable for me. You know, I never put so much focus on in that particular area like I have, in the past 8 or 9 months. Like you said, I've been working with a mental coach weekly. I've been doing a lot of reading on my own and on books, that are similar to mental training type of books. And just that whole area. Uh, and it's been awesome. I mean, I felt great fight night. I felt super focused. I felt calm. I felt super ready for that moment. So yeah, to me, it's something I'll continue to work on for sure and keep doing and keep growing and hopefully, keep putting on great performances and winning fights and climbing the ranks.
when you hear fighters and other athletes talk about it, there's usually like one moment where it's like, you know what, I just reached this point where I had no confidence, or I was getting too stressed, or there's anxiety.
Yeah.
What was it for you? What was one of the reasons you were like, I should see a mental coach?
I feel like I've always had these amazing training camps where every day I felt like was my best day. You know what I mean? Growing and being my skills and everything were all super on point. And I don't know if that was good or bad for me, in the sense that because of I have kept having these great training camps and feeling great, I would almost like overlook the fight a little bit, and just be like thinking I was just gonna go out there and it was gonna happen. You know what I mean? I wasn't necessarily focusing where I needed to come fight night, and it was costing me. You know what I mean? I'm 3-3 right now in the UFC, and um, obviously I don't you always want to win more than you lose. That's always a goal. And I've learned some lessons. I've grown from those lessons, and I've made the adjustments. And now that I feel super confident, in my skill set, but even more so now because I feel like I've closed this mental gap that I was having. Where come fight night, I just wasn't necessarily as focused as I needed to be in the fight night. You know what I mean? And now I feel like I'm there. I know how to mentally show up, and for me, that was kind of the hardest part. Um, and yeah, I'm feeling good about where I'm at right now.
You talked about being 3-3 and needing more wins than losses.
Yeah,
And when you make a decision to accept a new opponent, that's not ideal, right? It's like you've just been training for Natan this entire camp, and now you got Dakota Bush on a week's notice, and it's something you've done before, but there had to be some sort of like doubts where you're like, you know what, should I be doing this? Is this the right move for my career at this point? What went behind the decision to say, you know what, screw it, let's fight?
you know, I was, well, number one, that long layoff. I was really eager to fight. To me, the opponent didn't matter. I've never been one to watch a bunch of film or doing a bunch of studying of my opponents. Uh, to me, I'm a fighter. My job isn't to pick my opponent. My job isn't to kind of be like, oh, I want to fight this guy. I don't want to fight this guy. I want to fight this guy. I've never ever had any second thoughts of anyone I fought. You know what I mean? As coming up as an amateur, most of my fights ended up being different opponents than my original opponents, anyways. So it's getting a new opponent fight week isn't something necessarily new to me. So it didn't matter. I was mentally ready and I was mentally focused on fight night. So whether Natan was in there or Dakota Bush, to me, it didn't matter at all. So, um, yeah, that was kind of my mindset. I was just, I, to me, my job isn't to pick who I fight. My job is to fight, and I feel my skills are on par to fight anyone. So I'll let my manager, let the matchmakers do their job, and they can pick who I fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. A bit about not just the mental side, but the physical side, because the team you're working with is right now booming, right? Like you've
Yeah,
got Gaethje, Drew Dober, Neil Magny, Curtis Blades. Like the list goes on and on. You can pretty much list half the UFC roster, and they're there.
yeah, yeah.
Um, what does it mean to you to have a team like that around you?
Yeah, I mean the lessons I get to learn is invaluable. You know what I mean? Like training with Gaethje, Corey Sandhagen, Neil Magny, they're at a very high level and they have a lot of experience in the area in which I want to be. Um, you know, Obviously it's solid training partners, but their mental approach, their the experiences they have is also, you know, very valuable help, as well as, you know, the physical side of it. So yeah, it's amazing. It's such a blessing to be able to train with such an awesome team.
And I mean, very successful weekend for you guys as well. 2 belts now going back to the gym. How cool is it? And how cool was it to watch that fight, both Rose and Kamaru get it done?
Yeah, it was, I mean, awesome. You know what I mean? Like winning a world championship, and both in spectacular fashion. You know, it's exciting. It's motivating. Yeah, it's awesome.
As for what's next for you, I mean, this past year has been roller coasters with the Max Roshkoff incident,
Yeah.
surgery, injuries, time off. How quickly do you want to get back in there?
I love to stay active. You know, I would definitely love to be back in there end of June, any point in July range time frame. Um, that's my goal. Hopefully it can happen. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
I mentioned Max Roshkoff, and I wasn't going to bring him up, but you talked a lot about the mental side of things, and I think that's one of the things that he lacked. He ended up, for people who didn't watch the fight, he ended up, I wouldn't say quitting on the stool, but he took it on short notice and
Yeah.
ended up not being able to continue to fight. For someone like that, who's kind of probably in the same spot in terms of they need something mentally, not just
Yeah.
physically. What advice would you give to someone like that?
Yeah, I would definitely say to, you know, reach out to a mental coach or someone that you trust, you know, to kind of fill that mental gap for you, you know what I mean? And give you honest, unbiased things to work on, you know what I mean? You can't go see someone who's gonna just sit there and tell you you're right, you're doing this right, and not actually challenge you to change certain thinking behaviors. You know, that I think is very important, because you can't have like a yes man in your corner that's supposed to be making these changes for you, and help you think differently. For me, my mental coach, his name's Salt Garrison. He challenges me a lot, you know, mentally, and that's where your growth and your lessons learned come from. You know what I mean? You're not gonna learn the things you need to learn if you're just being told, you know, yeah, you got it, you're right, or you know, anything along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I'm starting to go to one myself too. And I mean, I don't train or anything like that, but I do jujitsu, but like I don't fight. And I think it's going to help a lot in terms
Yeah,
of.
I mean, it helps in all areas of life. It's not just something you need, you know, or can benefit from if only you're an athlete. It's something that you can, for me anyways, and what I learned from Saul, just in life in general, it just um makes everything a little bit easier, you know what I mean? With the mental processes and how you uh react to certain things that come up and whatnot, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think, yeah, I mean, important in all areas. As
Yeah.
an athlete, you see it too. I mean, guys early on in their career who kind of went through a rough patch. One of those examples is Charles Oliveira,
Yeah.
and look at where he is now, right? It just shows
Yeah.
you how even just a small change like talking to someone could make a difference. I mean, Charles Oliveira is about to fight Michael Chandler, so it shows you like what a change this could do for not just you but anyone in a similar position.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to talk about Charles Oliveira since we brought him up. There's a big fight coming up, and it's in your weight class, and I couldn't go without asking your prediction for it. Michael Chandler versus Charles Oliveira. If you had to pick, who do you think's winning it?
You know, that's it's such a interesting matchup. I feel like Oliveira is very, you know, crafty on the ground, very dangerous, but he has very good stand up as well. He's a little more lengthy than Chandler. But you know, and I'm not the most familiar with Chandler's fights. I've only seen, you know, one or two. I haven't seen a bunch, to be honest. But man, he seems like such a workhorse. He obviously is a very good wrestler. He has a very powerful one punch capability, knockout ability, within his hands. So obviously he's a dangerous for anyone. So I think that's going to be a fight of who can withstand and conquer kind of type of thing. Who's going to implement their game plan first and who's going to be able to stick to their game plan and impose their will onto the other person. So, for me, it's kind of a toss up. I think it could go either way, but I don't know. My gut is first instinct is maybe saying Chandler. I think Oliveira have in the past has shown some struggles when he doesn't kind of implement his game plan and will onto the other person. And I'm not saying he's weak or anything like that, but he kind of seems he can't always withstand the pressure from another opponent. And I feel that Chandler won't, he won't be affected by another opponent's pressure, and he's gonna keep a high pace and pressure on him. So I think it'll be an interesting fight for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to. I think it's the later it goes, I think it actually favors Chandler. I just think
I'll
that.
agree. I'll agree.
Yeah. But lastly, for people who want to follow you, where can they find you on social media?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Austin Hub with 2 B's 155. My Twitter's the same. I'm gonna be honest though, I don't use Twitter all that often. But yeah, you can check out my Instagram is where I post most of my social media.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much for the time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank
I
you.
know you're on your 2 weeks off, so
Yeah.
I'll let you get back to that. Best of luck, man, and can't
Thank
wait
you.
to see that for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. You take care as well.
So there you have it, Austin Hubbard, UFC lightweight. Be sure to check him out on Instagram. Also, that team at Elevation right now is booming. They are crushing it. Yeah, and if you guys haven't yet, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check us out at fighterpath.com, Fighter Path MMA on Instagram and Twitter, and we will see you guys next time.